And if you could sit opposite 14-year-old Brenden, what would you tell him? Dancing?
20s, yeah, mate, dancing. You're surprised, yeah, I'm actually not too bad at it either.
Welcome to the M26 Fit podcast. I'm your host, Magnus Olsen. Today we're sitting down with Brenden Wilkins, a former footy player, owner of Core Strength Fitness and one of Sunshine Coast's most respected youth mentors. He doesn't just train teenage boys, he teaches them discipline, self-worth, respect and the power of becoming somebody they can be proud of. In a time when so many young blokes feel lost, disconnected and unsure of who they are, Brenden is a steady hand helping them build identity, purpose, masculinity and leadership, turning boys into men that are ready to face life in the modern world. Brenden, welcome to the podcast, mate.
Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate you having me.
Mate, how good is this? We'll do a little bit of a wander around later and you can show me around, but how awesome is this space? And let's just start. Tell me a little bit about how this came about.
Far out, mate. I've had the business, the gym itself for 17, maybe nearly 18 years now. It's not been the most pleasant and easiest of businesses to have, but it's been really good for the community. So that sort of makes up for where the losses are. The building itself, this one here, I've been in here, or three in the other one, so the rest have been here. Been here for a long time. Luckily for me, the owner of the building's an amazing guy, and he's backed me a lot. And I've had my struggles over the years, and he's been really good. So we've got about, I think when I started this building, it was like 750 square meters. I've put a lot of additions in myself, which he's allowed me to do. So I think we're nearly up to about 1,000, maybe 1,200 square meters of building now with some mezzanines I've put in. And we have this space here, the Thai boxing space. We have a good cafe area. We have allied health rooms. We have the HIIT gym. We have the strength gym. And then we have your normal gym area as well. And then upstairs, which you'll see later, we've got a classroom. We've got a video arcade and a music studio for the kids to use. And then outside, we've got ourselves a workshop so kids can have a go at carpentry, welding, small mechanics and things like that. So it's not your normal gym, that's for sure. And we definitely don't run it like a normal gym.
Mate, so good. Let's take us back to the beginning. When you reflect on your childhood, and if I asked your mum what sort of a kid you were growing up in Western Sydney, what would she say?
I personally don't think I was a bad kid. My mum says I wasn't a bad kid either. Probably just, fuck man, I wouldn't know what she'd say, to be honest with you. I think just a normal kid from the area, wasn't real bright. Not that I wasn't real bright, like I struggled at school, colourblind, in a time when chalk and green, green chalkboard, coloured chalk was being used. It was obviously tough to understand what was going on in the classroom. So, and that didn't get picked up till I was like grade 4 or 5 or something. So I kind of missed out a lot of my young schooling. So I think no matter how, but I come from a really good family. Like my parents are amazing people. My dad was one of my heroes. So I think that having those in my life made it a lot easier because they kept us involved in sport. They were always home. They always cared for us. We had to be home at a certain time. There was good discipline. Not that we didn't get belted or anything like that, but we just respected our parents and they looked after us really well. So I think my mum's sort of surprised that I'm alive because as I got older, I wanted to make money. I wasn't really bright, so you turn to the other side of the world, and because I got myself involved in some hairy things over the years, which is why I ended up on the sunny coast because I had a couple of daughters and wanted to get away. But I surprised myself that I'm still alive, to be honest with you, sometimes.
What do you think young Brenden believed about himself that still shines through today for you?
I think I always, some people call it cocky. I've always had a fair level of self-confidence.
Belief in yourself.
Belief in myself, I think that, and I think that sometimes that started out when I was young. It was sort of like, it's just a put on to sort of bluff your way through. I grew up in a hard area. So if you didn't have, if you couldn't run fast or fight, you were fucked. So I think you just learn to have that little bit of self-confidence to get you through when when you're getting knocked down. And I think that's probably kept me throughout my whole life. I've struggled. Everything I've done has been hard work. And I think it's just that confidence and that self-belief that I can get through in the end is probably the same thing that's here now.
Yeah. Do you recall any of the early signs that you were heading down that path to destruction that you were talking about? How close did you think you came to blowing yourself up?
I think, so I was always kind of well behaved in like how I looked after myself. So I've been playing sport all my life. You know, I was a springboard diver, did dancing, gymnastics, all that kind of stuff, boxing, Thai boxing, played under 20s. Yeah, mate, dancing. You're surprised, yeah. I'm actually not too bad at it either. You know, like I had a season with the Panthers under 20s. Wasn't a great football player, but I was fit and aggressive, so it kind of worked. Yeah, where was it?
You were just looking at the path to destruction.
Yeah, I think that, like I said, we grew up in a sort of a rough area. Lots of, my family has a history of, you know, the sort of underworld type thing. My great grandfather was a bootlegger and, you know, had all the sly grog and that kind of stuff. So I've always been excited about that kind of world. My dad was not a bad man at all. Like, he was actually a really good man in the community. He was a butcher and a milkman. Used to look after lots of people in the community, things like that. Very well respected. But he brought us up watching The Godfather. And that kind of stuff just sort of, I was always attracted to it. My sisters, or the gym that we used to hang out at, it was full of bikies. And they always used to love my dad come to the butcher shop. So I always just got excited about that kind of stuff. So I think, you know, wanting to make money was a thing, and not being I couldn't go to uni or things like that. So I started selling like cigarettes at high school. You know, they were $10 a pack back then. You sell them for $1 each. So, you know, you're making $14 profit. And then it just sort of went from there. And then, you know, it sort of escalates. You just get excited. Escalates. I got involved in some like quite high level stuff. Was quite heavy into it. And then I had a couple of kids and saw a few mates disappearing, dying, going to jail, and I was like, I don't want my girls like being around this. And actually, what I said to one of the heads up in the club that I was with at the time, I said, mate, if I can't be half as good a dad as my dad was, I don't want to be a dad at all. And they all knew my dad, and that was he was like, oh mate, we'll stick to your word and piss off, and they're sweet. So I pretty much came up to Sunshine Coast, never been here before, looked at 5 blocks of land. My fiance at the time, she picked the last one. We put a deposit on it, flew home, packed up, and moved here.
So that was your daughter. That was that defining moment for you.
Yes, when my first wife, when she told me she was pregnant, it was a shock, you know. And I remember sitting in the cafe, my mate's nan's cafe. She used to go there every day for breakfast. She'd cook me bacon and eggs. And some of my mates had like 10-year-olds, you know. I was like 21, you know. So it was like, wow. And we weren't expecting, you know, we hadn't been together for a little while. And that was just like, fuck, you know. Like I said, my dad, like I have a cardboard cutout of my dad in my office, like just to remind me of, you know, the type of man I need to try and be all the time. Because, you know, I do backslide quite a bit. And that was just it. And I feel like I've done the best I can. You can always do better, but I'm a pretty good dad, and that's really my goals to be.
Was there a belief about yourself or something about yourself that had to change for you to become the man that you are now from leaving that world?
I think it's taken a back step. And I think I was lucky because like we were always well looked after. My dad worked his ass off to give us, you know, whatever we needed. Not what we wanted, but whatever we needed. And my sisters were looked after all of us really well. Mum got to stay home. I think just that the ability to go back to having not much. So, you know, when you get involved in that kind of world, you're making 10, 15, 20, $30,000 a week, and you're partying. I think at 21, I had 2 BMWs, you know, Harley Davidsons, was all that kind of stuff, to then giving it up and then going back to living the normal humble life where you've got all you've got is $1,000 a week or $1,500 a week to survive on. Having the ability to do that has probably
That must have been a massive identity shift and change for you for that lifestyle. And like you said, if you're running around getting 10, 20, 30 grand a week and all of a sudden you're coming back up and leaving that whole world behind and coming up to the Sunshine Coast and to raise your family?
I think my identity never changed. I'm still the same person. And people, it's funny because people I talk to from back home now, they follow me on social media, they're like, motherfucker, you've never changed. And actually the funny thing is I never partied when I was young. I didn't drink until I was like 19, 20, 21 or something like that. I never took drugs. I never did any of that kind of stuff till I was older. My best goal in life when I was young to be a nightclub bouncer. That's what my hopes were. You know, my career choices.
That was your aspiration.
That was my aspiration. So my 18th birthday present from my parents was my security license. I think I turned 18 on a Friday, went out Friday night. Saturday night I was working on the door of a club. And I was 75 kilos wringing wet.
Yep.
So I've always been that same person. So the only thing that changes is the money.
Yeah.
You know, I'm no different. I'm not involved in that world. Yeah, I'm just me.
That's awesome. You mentioned that some of your mates have gone to jail, and I think some of your mates didn't make it at all.
Yeah.
How do you think those experiences, how's that actually changed and affected the way you are today?
I think that it makes me glad that because you know, I'm not going to lie, you do get that taste and that itch to go, because it's an exciting life, and you know, and you do see everybody with the flashy things, and so you do get a bit of an itch to go back. But when I see guys that have got everything, like some of them, my old mates, like, you know, one of them owned half nightclubs on the Gold Coast at one stage, and he's dead. You know, I'm like, well, you know, that kind of stuff just keeps me leveled, and you know, I'm not interested in my version of a gangster now is completely different than what the world sees as a gangster. Yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, my dad's a gangster. A man that gets up every day, works hard for his family, respects his community, looks out for the people around him, becomes someone that can count on, you know, and does what he has to do to support. That to me, that's a gangster.
What do you think there's something that people assume about you that they just get completely wrong?
Well, I don't know if they get it wrong, because I am probably sometimes arrogant and
There's a fine line between what some people would define as arrogant and then just being confident in yourself and having a deep belief in yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so I think that's when people mix it up. And the same as they take your stoic sort of sense and your presence, or your masculinity is a big word at the moment, and they turn it into something toxic. You know, just because I believe that a man should be strong, stand up, protect, you know, earn, provide, not be vulnerable, not be weak, it doesn't mean I'm toxic. It just means that that's the values that I have, and not everybody's built like that. You know, and the majority of men probably wish they were like that. I had a guy come and see me the other night that I haven't seen in 10 years. He's like, mate, I don't know where I am in my life, but I feel like I'm not the man I should be. How can you help me? I haven't seen a guy in 10 years. And it was cool, you know, and you know, he's like 30 something now. So it's not hard to just get that about you. So, yeah, I think people often think that I'm an arsehole, and I am in certain states, but I'm a good arsehole. So I have this version, it might sound funny, so nice guy and good guy, okay? I'm not a nice person, but I'm a good person. Nice person will tell you what you want to hear, be really friendly to you, not be honest, not be upfront, you know? They'll just float through, making everything look great, okay? That's a nice guy. A good person will be straight up, be honest with you, and then stand by you with it. And so that's where I believe that I often say, I'm not a nice guy, I'm not a nice person, but I'm a good person. So I won't say the nice things you want to hear, but I'll tell you the truth, and you won't like it. But at the same time, the goodness of me will stand here and carry you through if you need that help. Yeah. So that's I've said that quite a lot.
Sport and physical fitness has been a real constant throughout your entire life.
Yes.
How do you think that has helped shape you as a person, and how's it helped you?
I think just the discipline. Obviously, healthy body, healthy mind, strong body, strong mind. I pump that through everything I've said for a long time. Yep. I think that gives you the confidence to sort of stand up and go forward in other things. Everybody should have a certain, a good level of strength and fitness. I believe that it has kept me, it's taught me a lot of discipline, like going from team sports to fighting. Team sports, people can blame it on someone else. You're on the field, you've got by people around you, which is great. But then when you go into the ring, you've got a team that train with you, but when you get in the ring, it's you versus them. And there's no one jumping in to save you. They're not going to back you up. So I think that the sport teaches you discipline, and competition is good for men. You lose, you get up and you keep going.
it's interesting. I've been fortunate to interview a few fighters, and that's one of the things, and a couple of them have been ex-footy players that have jumped in the ring, and that's exactly what they've said.
Yeah.
So you've got that situation where on the field, if you've got a whole bunch of other guys out there to support you, but when you hop in the ring, which we're sitting in one right now, that's it. There's nowhere to hide.
Yeah, there's not, and like I've done like lots of sports. Like even in high school, I was in like performing arts and things like that. You know, entertainment center, trampolining, springboard diving. I did the closing ceremony of the Atlanta Olympic Games. You know, I've played on footy fields with not huge crowds, but some decent crowds. And I'll tell you now, I'll jump in the ring in a car park anywhere, and that will way outdo any of those other things. The feeling of walking out to that ring and getting in there, and it's just you and him, mate, it's the best rush ever.
So what about mentally and emotionally? What do you do on that front to build and improve yourself?
Once again, just try and keep training, stay fit as possible. I think, you know, we've all got our issues, and I don't deny it, I've got plenty of them.
I think just touch on that for a minute, because there's a level of, I think, awareness, and there's a lot of people, and I think the key is that you need to be aware of it.
Yes.
And by the sound of it, you've got that level of awareness on yourself, and if you do understand that if you're going through a bit of a tough patch, you're aware of it and you can do something about it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would just like to get in denial because they don't want to be accountable to the things that have gone wrong. You know, like I've gone through 2 marriages, you know, business has been up and down, and trust me, I know every step of the way where it's been my fault. Which as a man, I always believe it's your job, and my dad just said, it's your job to keep your family together. As a man, it's your job to run your business, it's your job to run your life. So when things go wrong, at the end of the day, it's been my fault. Because I've allowed things to happen. Things didn't happen to me, I allowed them to happen. So it's just taking responsibility. And even when it's in some cases where it's just you've been blindsided, but you've still got to take responsibility for it. And I think that having that mindset has been able to help me because if you're blaming other people, you're never going to improve yourself. Yeah. So taking the blame all onto myself as much as I possibly can has helped me become not always better, but better for me, okay? Because some of the way I live my life even now, a lot of people don't agree with, but it's better for me. I'm not hurting anybody. Anybody in my life knows exactly where they stand with me. So you've got the choice to be in or out. You know, you get 2 options with me, take it or leave it.
Yep. All right, let's change gears slightly. So do you believe in a power greater than yourself? And what would you say if I asked you what your definition of spiritual fitness is? I
have been through a church phase. My first wife wanted us to go to church.
I'll just touch on that. So I think there's a big difference between religion and being spiritual.
That's what I was going to get. So I've been through that phase. I found, same as in like normal business, I suppose, I found there to be more crooks and snakes in the church and in business than there was in the underworld, to be honest with you. I've had more legit dealings with people that are full-blown gangsters, criminals, than I have with, in that sort of stuff. It didn't do me very well. I saw a lot of shadiness when I was involved in that. So I do believe in the universe. What you give, you get. What you put into the world, you will get in return. I've lost lots of money over the years, and I believe that I lost that because I didn't earn it in the right way, and that was just the universe taking back what it had given me, what I'd gotten some way undeservingly, or however you want to put it. So I do believe that I don't carry on about the spiritual side of things, and I get into mushrooms and stuff now, which really helps me with my ADHD, really helps me focus, and also with that self-reflection, because you can't hide from the truth in that area. But I do believe in the universe putting people together, sending you on a direction, and then also helping you get up in the morning.
Yep. All right, Teens Take Control. That's a massive program that you're obviously the founder of.
Yep.
Just give us a brief overview of what that program looks like and the amount of lives that you've changed over the years.
I started that in 2012, 2011, 2012, something like that. Just started as a bit of a program out of the gym. I had a school call up and say they had a bunch of boys that they needed to do an exercise program for, a bit of martial arts for some discipline. I said, yeah, no drama. So they came up. I did a couple of sessions with them, and I just asked the teacher, I I'm from Meriden High School. What's the deal with these boys? Why are they here? Disengaged, at risk of disengaged. Some were bullies, some were bullied. You know, didn't have the best home life, this, that kind of stuff. And some just chips on the shoulders, whatever. And I sort of, well, that was me at school, you know, struggling, things like that. I was like, well, I said to the teachers, like, if I can put together something that would give these kids some strategies to navigate their way through at least to grade 10, would you be interested in me running it? And they were like, yeah, why not? So I got together with another guy who was a school teacher who grew up similar to me. And he helped me formulate it and put it into a booklet, I suppose. And we started doing it that way. We did it all for free, just did it to see how it would go. And mate, it was amazing. You know, kids just started changing, turning up to school more. Well, if they didn't turn up to school, they got punished when they got here. But we just put in that structure, the discipline, but then put the fun stuff with it, or the stuff that excited them, training, Thai boxing, you know, that kind of stuff, which is what gets you know, majority of young boys going. And then it just sort of grew from there. Did it like that for a couple of years, I guess. Then a good friend of mine, well, I only met him through the gym. He actually joined the gym. He liked how he was treated when he joined the gym. He owned a big plumbing company. He came in one day, heard me having a bit of a not so good discussion with another organisation who was trying to rip it off me, and just asked me what it was all about. And then Troy Leviston, his name was, he owned Plumbers Queensland at the time. So he jumped on and said, mate, I want to support it. He goes, I donate all this money to charity every year. He goes, I want to put it into this. So he put it up. I had no idea what a charity was, what a not-for-profit was, you know, like I was a bouncer in a fucking gym owner, you know, like I had no clue. So he organised all that and got it turned into a not-for-profit. We didn't even become a charity then, but just got all that stuff, had a board together and things, and it was a whole other level of professionalism for me. So it started from there. He funded it a lot. We had Nambour High School, Maroochydore High School. The group of 20 kids would come in twice a week. Each group would come, they'd have 2 days, and the rest of the time at school. Every day they'd come in to us, I'd get their report from the school. So if they'd mucked up at school, they had to answer to me, and they did it as a group. We did that for a few years, but then financially things got tough for both businesses, so we had to sort of pull it back. And none of it was funded, no government funding, not at all. And then I got onto an RTO. Leone and Bruce, they had skills generation, and took them what we were doing, and they were like, mate, we can attach this to a recognised, like a certificate course. So we did a sport and rec one, and we did a foundation skills one, and that just got us a little bit of funding, so we could at least cover, you know, some of the running costs and getting the kids to and from. Mate, and you know, it's been 14, 15 years now, so it's grown and changed. We've received funding for 2 years out of that whole time, and that time was great. We put 90 kids through the program, 86% success rate. They all left with jobs, went back to education. I had 9 staff at the time. We were running workshops. We had a workshop, the kids were working on cars, and we had heaps of space. And then Ted O'Brien gave us that grant. He was actually really good. He wasn't one of those guys that gave you a grant and then wanted to know the ins and outs of your arsehole and all this kind of stuff. He was just wanted to see the results. And once he's seen all that, he was like, good. But then they cut the funding.
Yeah, what we might do is we'll get those details off you. Put those in the show notes. So if anybody wants to support this awesome cause, you'll know where to find you. What about rules and values that are really at the heart of this program, and what are the consequences when the kids don't follow them?
So we used to actually, I haven't gone over the rules for a long time, because we haven't really sat down and had the groups to be able to do it like that. We used to have a session so that everyone would sign up or they'd enroll, and then we'd have a first day. And first day they get, this is how it rolls. We'd go through a bit of a slideshow, show them a bit about me, and the rest of our staff, what we do. But rule number 1 is if you're on time, you're late, and if you're early, you're on time. So that was always our, so you know, just that's the start of being disciplined. And then we had a whole other lot of stuff that we would put in there, uniform, things like that. But the punishments are, so everything is punishable. So you fuck up, you find out. So most schools, you know, if a kid swears or does something wrong, they suspend them or they kick them out of the class, which only sends them down. It sends them back. We don't do that. We put you on the rowing machine, you know, or you got burpees and things like that. So the best one is the rower. So simple punishment if you do something. So we don't mind language and stuff. Time and place. When it's just all the boys in the groups, I don't care if you, hey, you fucking idiot, or as long as it's in good in a good manner, like more motivating, good banter, it's fine. But if you're nasty or you're attacking one of the boys, it's a clipping, not a clipping. Sorry, I didn't hear anybody. And so yeah, they have to do 1,000 meters on the roller in 6 minutes. And we do vary the time and age and things like that, but it's generally 6 minutes. That's just a general one. And if they miss it, if they do 6 minutes, 1 second, 5-minute rest, do it again.
Yep.
And that's how it rolls. And if they then if they do it again, it's 2,000. And if I really upset me, 5,000 meters, 30 minutes. And there's a few kids that miss that one. And they have to, even if they miss it. So say they get to 4,500 and they hit 30 minutes, they've still got to do the 5,000 meters, and then they've got to rest and come back and do the 5,000 meters again under the 30 minutes.
So what do you think it is about hard physical training that seems to have a real impact with these kids?
It clears your mind. Like, I don't know about you, but I know anytime I've ever had an issue, stressed out, like for me, if I had a bad day, I'd come spar and get the shit beaten out of me, because I would feel like, oh good, let the boys beat the laps. Like there's some videos on all our stuff that shows, I got 6 kids in the ring punching the shit out of me sometimes, I just think that, it's probably, I don't know if this is a bad way to say it, but people like they cut themselves and that self-harm type stuff. I think if they did fitness, they would wipe that out, because you can flog yourself, but you're benefiting at the same time, and that's where these boys, I get them into the frame of mind is that you're being punished, but you know what, your punishment is going to benefit you, because you're working hard, which you hate, but the hard work's going to make you feel better, feel stronger, feel fitter. Yep. So you trick them, which I used to say, we want to teach them without them knowing they're learning, which is how we do it.
How do you draw the line between compassion and tough love?
I guess I draw the line in how it's reciprocated. So, that's a really tough one to answer. So, how's this one? One of my favourite sayings: those who care will always expect more. So, because I give a shit, I'm going to push you and push you and push you. If you achieve, for example, your goal was to make that 1,000 meters in 5 minutes, sweet. Next week, I want it in 4 minutes and 50 seconds. And it's not because I'll work hard this week to get there, but it's because I care that I want more. So that could be with work, it could be with their numeracy, literacy. It could be, they went home and their mum messaged me in the morning and said, oh, he was an arsehole last night, he called me a bitch. So when he comes in the next day, it's like, did you talk to your mum like that? Like, give him the rower, you speak to your mum like that again, it's going to be worse, And when you get home, you're going to give your mum a cuddle, you're going to apologise, and you're going to take the rubbish out. So, and look, at times, I have gotten a little bit physical. I used to have a stick with a broom handle. And it's funny now because I see kids that are 25, and they're like, hey, coach, I see them out, I have beer with them and that sometimes. And they're like, hey, coach. I'm like, hey, boys. They're like, remember we used to hit us with a stick? Like, and I wouldn't hit them hard, but like, just tap them on the shin with a broom handle, Like, I can't do a burpee, like, in the shin. Now, George, do you reckon? And they laugh. Like, it hurts, that pain that sort of, they sort of giggle when it happens. I think, okay, so passion and the line is if your intentions are bad with it. So my intentions are never bad, I want the best for them. I love these kids. Once they become my program, they're like my own kid.
Yep. What about, I know a word you and I have discussed in the past. Where did your conviction for respect come from, and in particular around mothers and women?
So I have a mother and I have 3 older sisters. My dad said he had 4 daughters, but anyway. And I think growing up, my dad is the type of man that did the milk run, did the butcher shop, did the yards, cooked. He was an amazing cook. Made it possible for mum to drive after school, pick us up from school, take us to sport. He's the man that would change nappies. I think at 65, like, my sister lived in Melbourne, and he would fly down to Melbourne to babysit her kids while her and her husband had to go somewhere. And they were little girls, he'd do their hair, make their lunches, change, that is probably, so on a respect for, the females in the world. And I saw my sisters go through a bit of shit with boyfriends and stuff over the years. I remember getting the shit punched out of me because one guy said something rude about my sister in the showers when we were at the caravan park one. And I tried to argue with him. I was like 13 and he was 16, 17. He beat the fuck out of me. You know, I got him back when I was like 20. So I just think that, like, I don't think women can look after themselves, yes, but it's still our job to protect our women, you know, and that's where I believe in that one. On a respect level with the rest of the society and men to men, I think once again, what you put out, you receive. And it's not hard to be nice, it's not hard to show a bit of respect. And then when it doesn't come back, then you just share that same thing with that person. So, but yeah, and I've got 4 daughters. You know, I've got a 21-year-old, 20-year-old, 19-year-old, and 8-year-old. Drop dead gorgeous girls. So, you know, and I want them to be, that's why I work with boys too, because I need there to be good men in the world. Yeah. You know, I need there to be young boys that open car doors and walk on the side of the cars that are coming, you know, change sides. Like it does. And I'm lucky now because 2 of my daughters are dating guys, and that's what they say to me, Dad, I can't, you know, opens the door. And I'm like, has this been keeping reading my book? I love this shit, you know?
Well, I just thought to myself, if I was a 21-year-old kid and I was dating your daughter.
That's happened a few times where kids think that. And my idea is, if you've got bad intentions, then you've got something to worry about. If you've got good intentions, what do you have to worry about? Because if the intentions are good, you're going to treat my kids good, you've got nothing to worry about with me. But it's like anyone. Like anyone comes here, any kids that come here and say, you know, oh, my boyfriend did this, trust me, I'll be in the car and I'll drag the kid out. You know, like, it's just that everyone needs to learn, you know? I think, and same as with all the other programs, there's no better teacher than pain. So pain can be physical, mental, or loss of something. So, you know, kids in pain, you take the computer off them. You know, so if someone's physically disrespectful to my daughters, then they need to be physically they need to feel that pain is to themselves. Not that I've ever had to do it, but, you know, the potential's there. You know what they say, you know, it's best to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in a war. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well said. If a parent comes to you and says that their kid's out of control and they come to join the program with you, what's the starting point? What's the first thing you do with that kid?
So I interview the parents first. I talk to the parents, find out what's going on there. Then if they like the idea of it, then I bring the kid in, give the kid, they look around a little bit, then we have a chat. We give them a rundown of what the days are like. I explain to them that there's a lot of discipline, there's a lot of fitness, you need to be prepared to do it. There's participation is a must. If you're not at the level of a certain fitness level, I'm happy to make adjustments. But I don't make anybody do something I can't do, haven't done, or I'm not prepared to do. And I know what I'm doing, so I'm not going to make you do 1,000 burpees if you're capable of only doing 5. You know, I set targets that I know are achievable with a little bit of hard work, because nobody wants to not achieve. This is what these kids are stuck with. They don't achieve any time because they keep getting knocked down. So I make their things achievable, so they feel like, so they get there, you know, and that gives them that sense of achievement, and they can push further. So they do that. So they go in, we go over all of that. What the program's like, then I give them a week trial, and they come in for the week. They just get involved in stuff. Once again, I don't push them too hard in the gym. I talk to them about technique, go over some bits and pieces, and they slowly in that week, they see us interact with the other kids, and they know, okay, fuck, I better not do that. You know, because you've always got a kid that might be off the rails one day, so he's getting like handled, and it's like, oh fuck, I don't want to do that. And then what happens is, I've found, is the kids start talking to each other about what to do or not to do. But yeah, that's the enrollment process, and if they like it, then they stay. We have a contract, we have a service agreement, a contract, which I have to change all the time and that's not my really area, but because we operate differently and our model's different than most places, we have to have certain things in there that the parents have to agree that this, you know, and the kid has to sign up to it too. And yeah, so we very rarely throw a kid out, only if they're a risk to the rest of the group. But it's happened very, very little.
What's this business cost you? I know from a personal perspective, and as a father and as a business owner, and have you come close to burnout?
Plenty of times. I should have shut the gym down probably 3 times in the last 10 years, because it's just a hard game. When I opened up, there was 10 gyms within 20 minutes. Now there's 300 within 5. But the people that love the place and rely on the place has what's kept me going. I mean, I had a $2 million house when I came up here. I live here now. I've got a 3-bedroom apartment I built inside the gym. I think roughly 5.3 something million dollars I've put into the organisation. Not put in cash wise, but time and money and resources and things like that over the time it's been going. All other people have as well. The RTO helped us a lot. I've got a mate who's a gambler, and he always chips in little bits here and there. I hate that, but he does it. And we've had help. We've had some grants, some small grants and things. So it hasn't all been me, you know. I'm not fucking, you know, this. But it has taken a lot. I think my kids resented me for a while because they missed out, and they probably still do miss out because of how much time, money, and effort I put into other kids. But now my girls have gotten older, I think they start to see why, and you know, they've got, you know, at some stage they've had 4 parents that love and care for them, and they've had, you know, an abundance of good things. So what they should be able to share with kids that don't have that, you know, most kids don't have a decent dad or a mum or anybody. So why can't they share their dad? Their dad's got plenty of love to give. So, and I think now they respect it, as I do with my dad. I saw my dad do it a lot.
If we had one of the decision makers up here on the coast listening into this podcast, what would you say to them, and what needs to change? I know the Sunshine Coast has got a bit of a problem with the youth crime rates, but what would you say to them? A conservative model doesn't work for these type of kids, and they keep going pushing back to this conservative model. You know, that they want this soft approach. Can't be aggressive. You can't make anybody do anything. Is what's killing it. You know, you can't give kids all this freedom and all these rights, and then expect them to follow. Like, people are like water. You know, they'll follow the easiest path possible. Kids, even worse. So if you tell a kid, oh well, they can't make you go to school, they can't make you go to class, they can't. The police don't even have any power now with kids. The kids tell the cops to fuck off. Like, we did that when we were young. Mate, they put you in the paddy wagon, do donuts in the bush until you got out black and blue, you know, or drop you off at the shop in the worst part of the area and make you walk home. You know, there's got to be a consequence.
I think for our local community, I've tried and tried. I think they're just too busy funding the stuff that ticks the boxes. There's how do I put it? There's too many soft cocks in power. I'm sorry, but you know, I'd say it to them. You know.
And if you could sit opposite 14-year-old Brenden, what would you tell him?
Don't get married. Don't get married twice, especially. To be honest, I had to think about this when you sent me that one, and I don't really think there's much in my life that I would change. Even the things that haven't worked out so well, I've always had some kind of good benefit to them. I don't look at life like I'm never unhappy. You know, I'm always some kind of level of happy, you know, and I've got reasons to be. Some mornings I get up, my fucking body's killing me, and the first word I say is, oh, fuck. You know, but, you know, I could have a beautiful girl next to me, or I could have my kids there, or I've got so much in the world. So I don't think there's anything that I probably wouldn't do. Not much I'd change, because I don't sound like a dick, but I really like the person I am, you know, and even my flaws, and the flaws make you. So I think I'm doing a good job. I think I've done my best to make my dad proud. Yeah, I don't think, there's not much I'd say, to be honest with you. Probably work a bit harder. Or maybe do a little bit better at school. just learn a bit more, like how to learn that kind of stuff.
I like what you said. Academia was not my strong suit either, and they left school at the age of 15, so I get that. And the same, I wouldn't change that, because at the end of the day, I think that's formed part of who you were. If you were a book smart kind of kid and went on to university, you might have taken a completely different trajectory, and you certainly wouldn't be where you are today. But when you look ahead into the future, what's the next 5 to 10 years look like for you and for the business?
I think the business, the gym itself, I was off it. Like, it really sort of broke me, just constant money. And it was just getting tougher and tougher. And I think that's my fault, because I've only ever been in any business I've had, I can always seem to get it to just this level, you know, or certain parts of it. And I've never been able to break that next barrier. And I think as I got older, I got lazier too. Like, I just can't be learning anymore, you know. But now with the business, I'm quite excited about. I got a new manager on, Jesse. young guy, hungry, busting his ass. He's killing it, doing really well, which allows me to work with the kids and focus on the kids a bit more, which is what I really want to do. Even though that's tiring. So I think I'd like to, the organisation's now got no funders whatsoever. We were getting supported by another organisation for wages for the last 6 months, but they've pulled their funding. We've got a 2,500 square metre farm that just produced 1.9 tonne of organic vegetables over the last 6 months, and we donated that to another charity which gives food to the community. So we've got 2 staff out there that need to be funded, and I've got 2 staff here that need to be funded. That's not sure how that's going to happen at the moment, but once again, if it falls back onto me, then I'll make it happen. Always bite off more than I can chew like hell. So I'm not too sure about how the organisation is going to go. We'll tick on, and then hopefully something comes on, which it always does. Last minute it always pops up. But gym-wise, I see a good future for the gym. We've got an amazing facility. I think having some new people in there that are hungry, behind the scenes managing it. I think all the coaches are really good. I can just walk around and swear at people and laugh and have a beer with everybody, which is what that's the stage I'm at now. So I think, hopefully in the next 5 years, I'd like to be able to buy the building. So 1, the gym's safe, and 2, Teen State Control will always have this home base. And if I come back at 65 and someone else is here running it for me, that would be fucking amazing. So, hopefully in the next 5 years we can buy the building, and see another 1,000 or so kids come through and change their lives. It'd be great.
All right, mate. Quick fire question time. You ready?
Yes.
What's the toughest workout you've ever done?
I think we call it the beast test, but it was called the wiki, Reuben wiki, where you do the 1,000 meters, 2 burpees, 2 deadlifts, 2 something else. And then you go 800, and then you go down and up, and you'll do it in the fastest time. Fucking kills me.
One rule in your gym that never gets broken.
Enjoy yourself. If you're not enjoying yourself, fuck off.
What are you really bad at?
Asking for help.
Biggest misconception about at-risk teens?
Is that's a tough one, but it's the parents' fault, which I think that's the biggest misconception. It's not the parents' fault.
Yeah. All-time favourite movie?
The Godfather series.
What pisses you off?
Laziness and weak men.
What's one thing you're currently working on to improve yourself?
Understanding people better.
What are you obsessed about?
My kids and all the other kids like that. That's what obsesses me. Just getting that.
One food every kid should learn how to cook.
Spaghetti bolognese with vegetables and steak.
What's the worst habit you see in young men today?
Vaping and weakness, like that. I wouldn't say weakness. It's not weakness. It's like, when they have this big bravado and they carry on, they're loud, but they don't have it inside. That's I don't know what you'd call that, but I can't stand it.
A song that fires you up?
I would say I'm big on music. It's a big different, man. I used to train to Andrea Bocelli when I was training for Thai boxing, but my old footy coach used to put Eye of the Tiger on before we'd run out, so that still always gets me going.
What's the best thing a kid's ever said to you?
That I'm the father he never had, and never had, and I'm probably lucky because I think I've had that said to me many times over the years, and that's one thing that keeps me going.
If you could spend 24 hours with anybody in the world, who would you choose?
It's a funny one because I never really idolised anybody. Someone like Andy Frisella, someone that's hard hitting and has been successful. If I could go back another 24 hours with my dad, would be good. But yeah.
One thing you learned the hard way?
Relationships.
What do you wish more parents understood?
That it's time, not money or things.
In one sentence, what's your definition of a better man?
A man who protects, provides, and is willing to sacrifice and look after the people around him.
What should we all be doing more of?
Working on our physical fitness and health.
Yeah. Agreed. Last question, finish this sentence, I believe.
I believe that if we all did a little bit more for someone else, not worried about ourselves, everybody would do a lot better. because if I do something for you, not for me, then you'll do something for them. Someone's going to come back at me tenfold. You know, if 10 people, if you're doing something and 10 people also decide they're going to do something for you, how much better is your life going to be? So that is a big one, yeah.
Mate, fantastic. It's been an absolute privilege and an honour to have a chat with you today, mate. And thank you again for welcoming us into your into this
I appreciate
amazing
having me
facility.
on. It's pretty cool.
Mate,
Thanks,
you.
Mate. Legend.
Thanks for tuning in to the M26 Fit podcast. If something landed with you today, share it with a mate, hit subscribe and keep showing up. One day at a time, one rep at a time. Stay aligned, spirit, mind, body.